and the clean air, the mountains, the animals, the fish. And Grandfather, today we also want to pray for our elders. And we once again, I want to thank you, and I ask you all this in the Creator's name. Amen. Okay. Let's see here. Let me get situated here. What's that? Okay. Martin, can you hear us?
Abby, can you hear us?
Hey, I can hear you.
Good morning, Martin. Testing.
Morning.
We can hear you loud and clear. Okay, let's take a few minutes and take a look at the council minutes and get those approved and out to the people. I just want to give council a quick update on the first issue there with a tribal member that came in and was requesting a policy waiver. It was advised by the staff that because of the circumstances and the issues that we're dealing with, that it was unadvisable not to waive the policy. So, but they were looking at other options on potentially seeing if they can do a temporary relocation at another position until they're able to get the background check done. That was to potentially look at placing her somewhere else to get her working until they're able to get the background check. Yeah. No, this is regarding the tribal member that one. What's that, Carol? Hey, good morning, Ellie. Abby, on the very last, or the second to the last paragraph, where we were talking with Vernon, can you remove the sentence? Len Tucci told him that the fencing crew were employed and they qualify for the pay.
executive session today. So, from all here, are those, are any of them gonna be executive?
Yeah,
Just the afternoon?
from 10 to, yeah,
And then there, okay.
Are you gonna hot mic, Lance?
Martin, I didn't hear that. Oh, okay. All right, Mike,
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Abby, on the very last paragraph, the one with the statement from Jim Steele Senior, there is a typo in the last sentence. Individual is not spelled correctly.
oh, good catch. All right, we have a motion by Mike to approve the minutes with corrections. Second by Jimmy. Any further comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed, same. Motion carried. One abstention, Bing. Okay, let's look at the agenda. Sound like we have a full agenda today. Is there any items that council needs to address that we need to add to the agenda? Trip report from Carol? Okay, going once, going twice.
One walk-in.
One walk-in, Leonard, Michelle? Is Leonard a walk-in? Okay. Okay, need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mike. Second by Ellie. All in favor? Opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, let's start with our first walk-in. Morning. Come on up. You need just an executive, Leonard?
No.
Okay.
Morning, Mr. Vice Chair, council members. Had a couple of requests. One of them's been filled already about using the letterhead for donations for the Elmo Celebration Committee.
Okay.
Got that one taken care of. The other two, we still don't have electricity out at our shop. And it makes it hard for us to do our job out there.
The maintenance shop?
Maintenance shop. They thought, I don't know who checked it out. Well, last I knew who checked it out was Sam Barber Jr. And they're talking about digging it up, but it's under conduit. So there's no really reason to dig it up. You know, the power from the shop to the pole. I was talking with Mission Valley Power, and it's good all the way to their meter. It's from the meter to the shop.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the main breaker or if that wire needs to be changed from the Mission Valley Power side.
Leonard, how long have you guys been without electricity there?
About 2.5 months, we haven't been able to use anything.
Oh, okay.
Makes it hard to work on our equipment when we have no electricity.
Okay. Did you, then facility maintenance, was aware of the problem?
No. They keep saying they're gonna come out, they're waiting for a backhoe, but I don't, a backhoe isn't gonna do anything. They don't need to dig it up.
Yeah, I would figure they would need to find out what the problem is first before they start before they start
Yeah,
digging.
well, like I say, it's under conduit, so there's no reason to dig up the line. They didn't. I don't wanna make a big assumption, but they didn't go out and look where it was hooked. There is conduit from one end to the other.
Okay,
Just like to get that fixed to make it easier on us,
okay.
doing
So-
our job. Mission Valley Power has a list of 20 electricians. You know, I know electricians are busy right now.
Okay,
Everybody's building.
Jennifer, can you have Lisa come down?
I was just texting her, she is out today, so I was gonna try and get John Nice here. Or Rick, either one, but Lisa's on PTO today.
Okay, yeah, if we could get somebody from facility maintenance down here. We need to get this on a priority list, especially when we're getting close to fall season. You know,
Yeah,
we're scrambling around again.
yeah. Well, it's hard to keep up our equipment when we can't work
Yeah,
on
it
it,
is.
so.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is a request to, the community has been asking me to come forward and ask to be able to use that arbor as is, the stick aim arbor. I know I was talking with Councilman Pitts the other day, yesterday when he come on a field trip with us. And I understand the liability and everything that you guys have to look at. But it's kind of sad, and in one part that it's been sitting that way for 5 years and nothing's been done to fix it. And they just keep telling the community they can't use it. You know, I don't think it's gonna fall any day between the 14th, 15th, and 16th of July. I'm no architect, but I think the way that's built and the way those rafters are, the only thing that's gonna fall is you start pulling out those pillars and it'll fall, but they want to use it, and so I'm here asking for council's permission. I just talked with Rick and he was gonna check with his the insurance carrier and stuff like that about liability.
Okay.
Rick is
But I
on.
still have to come and ask
He's on his way.
council,
Mhm.
because you ultimately make the decision. You know, I wish Kyle would have talked with me before he come in and made that recommendation not to let us use it. But the community is pretty adamant that they'd like to use it. Nobody's gonna be able to predict if that's gonna fall. I don't think there's a win. I just don't, the way that's built. Like I said, the only way you're gonna be able to pull that down is pull those pillars out, then it'll fall apart.
Mhm.
If we talk about liability, you go underneath and it's gravel. You know, you have an elder trip or whatever, that's a liability. So there's liabilities all over when you go and do things. So,
Everything is a liability.
that's right. The minute you get up in the morning, I
The
can get
minute
an
you step out
accident
that
going
door.
back out to Elmore, so. But I think you heard the community's voice, Leonard, when you had your district
did,
meeting
yes.
out there. And I don't think they're asking nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I understood that, well, the last conversation we had was the plan was to just try to demo the pavilion and, potentially use a tent and on that
Mhm.
particular location. I'm not sure if if that was still in the works, Rick, is it?
Yes, that is, still that was the plan, until, Leonard and I were talking just before, you guys started. And, if we need to adjust, we can. SKMM has, reached out to, get quotes, and they have one quote so far. They're looking to get, one or two more. I think the first one came in, at a eyebrow raising amount potentially.
Well, here's the concern I have. So we're looking at, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. So we're gonna get an advert, we need to seek out 2 other quotes. And,
Yeah, and they might have them now. I haven't gotten a update on where they're at. But I also haven't heard that it would be an issue, timeline wise to have it done and cleaned up, with a week before the powwow starts. That being said, they, have only the one quote, so if we wanted to go that route, we could, tell them go ahead, but, my main concern was timing and, as far as I understand, we're still, okay with that part of it.
okay. I mean, my thoughts are we should have already started on it by now.
Well, when it was talked about, when Rick and I talked about it, we talked about it at length, and he said it was immediately gonna start to be tore down. I think if it was within that 2 days of when we talked, it wouldn't be a problem. But with the community out there looking at it and they're still insisting they want to use it, I really don't think it's that big of a hazard of that pavilion falling. And I do understand the liability the tribes have to look at.
Terry,
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Time's always, and it's still gonna be an issue. I was just wondering if the expense that we're gonna use to tear it down and the tent, if we could get a contractor come in there and shore it up to get us through this period of time, then that would take the pressure off for this year, and then we could have a longer discussion of what to go forward, but I have to agree, if it's still standing, I would think it, and I know the liability that Rick's gonna check is gonna weigh in on it, but I would like to see consideration of getting a contractor come out there and, you know, brace things up the best they can to at least make that effort.
any other comments? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I kind of, looking at it, I think the only damage is that one area, that one spot. I kind of agree with Terry, if it could be shored up to make it through, I think it will work. I mean, I've been around construction all my life, and I think you could shore that one section up. But, you know, considering the liability and all the insurance, I don't know if it'll work, but, it would be awesome if they could use it.
Okay. Yes, Martin.
So how many years have we not used that because of this liability? And it's sat untouched. And now we're gonna use it? I mean, there are liabilities out there, but not liabilities that could kill people. I don't understand why we'd go back and use it after even last year where we got a tent and that was effective enough. I mean, we have to protect people, and I don't. Sometimes you gotta protect people against themselves, so. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Leonard.
yeah, the tent they used last year was way too small for their participants. And I don't think there's any big tent here within Kalispell, Missoula area that you could get a big enough tent.
And sometimes pavilion's not even big enough.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. You got a lot of stick-in players.
Okay. Rick, in regards to the insurance, did you have a chance to take a look at that?
No,
Not yet.
not yet. I don't know. I honestly don't know what. I feel like I have to make the call, but I don't know what, if there would be any outcome that would be sort of different. Um, I know what they're gonna say is if the experts said it's a risk, then you shouldn't use it, and I think that'll be a challenge, but maybe I'm hoping there might be a way around that if you guys wanna go down that path.
Okay, Martin, and then Mike.
If space is an issue, let's rent 2 tents. Right? Imagine we could find 2 tents if that's really the issue. And if we're doing a tournament, you hold a championship game in one of them. You know, where they don't all gotta be in one spot. I'd rather pay more money to not, yeah, it probably won't fall down. But if it did and someone dies, I don't want that on our heads. I don't think you want that on your head, Leonard. So let's rent 2 tents.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Rick, do we have a written statement of what the risk is from the engineers?
That's what I was on the phone with John about when I got called back in here, is that'll be something I'll need for the insurance conversation, but I don't know exactly what it says. I just know that when Jack Cola came down, that their recommendation is why we put the fence up around the pavilion in 2020. So.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Yeah, it's really hard to come in here and ask and talk about that pavilion and the community, because one of the biggest things the community out there in the Tri-Cities is that they're ignored and they're not listened to when they ask things to be fixed or looked at. And then we come to this point where, well, I'm trying to protect you. Well, if this council was trying to protect them, they would have fixed it right away. Not just put a fence around it. That's not listening to listening to the community or helping them.
yeah. I don't think it's about not listening to the community. It's just that this body here has a responsibility that we need to uphold to the tribe. And it's a huge liability. I support the use of it. I do. And I've seen it, and I could honestly say I don't think it's gonna tip over on June 18, 19, and 20. Okay. But that's just when we're dealing with people's lives, people's safety. It's a decision that we need to really look closely at. And but I gotta disagree with you. It's just not about us not listening to the community. It's not. And yes, you're absolutely right. This should have been fixed the year after it happened, the month after it happened. But here we are today, and I guess I would just put that out for the council to make the decision.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the public
Hold on,
out
hold
there.
on. Bing had a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. John, since you're in here, how big of a job would it be to shore those 2 posts up?
Actually, there's more than 2 posts. It's all of them.
It's all of them? All
It's
the
all of
posts in
them. They
there?
were all poured in concrete, which the lye just rots the wood. That's what happened. That's how they poured it. I don't know who did it or where they got their design from, but anytime you put wood and concrete, it rots it faster than normal. Okay, so that's what's happening. They poured it in the concrete and it's rotten within the inside and it's sinking. It's just getting crushed. Okay, now part of the timeline was it was during COVID. Nobody was, pretty much the engineers weren't working. We contacted them right away to get a report. We did not get a report. Okay, it took a while because nobody was working. So it was right when it happened, we got on it. Okay, and then there's a money issue, you know. I think it was 150,000, I think was what the rough estimate was by the engineers at first. But in the meantime, it's continued, like the last 6 months, you can see how it's had a lot of movement. Okay. So we've done what we can, as fast as we can. And money's part of the issue. The engineer report was part of the issue. They wanted to make sure also on repairing it with the wind up in the area. That was another major factor for the engineer report. The shear factor of the posts. A lot of things into consideration for that.
Okay. Yep. Jimmy, comment?
Yeah, I think John, if that's the case and it can be used, and they decide not to use it, and if they need that space, is it possible to get a demo and get a tent in there? And we got just a little over a month.
Yes, SKMM has been working with tribal contractor. His bid came in to demo it at 200,000+, which I think is quite a bit out of line. So SKMM is actually soliciting more contractors.
Yeah, cause I didn't realize the rest of them were sinking. I just thought that one area, the 2 or 3 in that area would be the ones that'd be concerning. I also agree, I don't wanna put anybody's life in jeopardy but I understand why that community wants that, to use that, because they've had it there for a long time. Used to dance on it in the sawdust floor. It was, it was fun, and it's part of the community, but it's gotta go, but like I was saying, we're strapped for time now.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. I think, we need to probably base this decision on the timing of the process, see where we're at in 2 weeks. If we have not moved and nothing, we have no contracts in place for a contractor, then we consider utilizing the building. I just don't want to find us in a situation where we start construction and it's not done during powwow. That's the situation I want to avoid. So I would prefer just to see where we're at in 2 weeks, and if nothing's moved, let's revisit this issue again. Yes, John.
Kyle will probably be giving an update on Monday. Is that correct? For the powwow grounds? Kyle from SKMM.
Was he on your agenda, Jen? Not yet?
No, but I
Well-
can put them on there if you want them
At-
on there.
Yeah, let's get them on the, let's
At the
get them on the
chairman's
agenda.
meeting? Okay.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
yes,
Yeah, and talking with Kyle over I don't know, last month or so, he was commenting too that some of those other pillars have moved and they said I don't know which contractor put a level up there or whatever. He said, but they're all off level. He said, but just the one side is the worst side, the one that you can see that's sunk. So I'm not disagreeing that all these pillars have moved. Of course, they're gonna move over time the way it was built. You know, I'm not arguing that point at all. But I'm just bringing this forward for the community because they asked me to bring it forward. Those the community members that are vocal like me and asked me to go forward, so I did.
Okay, understood.
And as far as, I know you guys don't mean to leave them out, but they feel left out. That's why I said that comment.
Okay,
I wasn't saying it in a mean fashion. I was saying it on how they feel when when people come out, the organization or council comes out there to see them. They're just not listened to. They're listened to, but they're not heard, and things aren't brought forward. That's why I brought up and said what I said. So nothing directed towards each and every one of you personally. It's just as a council as a whole.
no, but just, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
yep, I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were a lot of people throughout the reservation that feel that same way, but, and that's just something that we need to work on. Yeah, but once in a while, we need to be reminded, and I appreciate that. Carol,
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I didn't understand that all of the poles were unstable. And to me, with that being said, and I don't think anybody's intentionally trying to do anything here. It's just kind of the way the world is going right now. Things take time, and there's such of a less amount of people that do these kind of things that are available. So I think we need to move forward. I mean, I hear the community, and sometimes we have to tell the community no. And nobody likes to do that, but it's not just that community that's, you know, if there was a liability issue and that roof just happened to fall, and the you know, the liability to the tribal treasury affects us all. And it would be huge. And so I think we need to just move forward like we were. I don't want to do this to the community, but I think we have options, and I think we've looked at them. And just to take a chance to lose one life, I'm not willing to go there because I know that that is unstable. And now I'm gonna say, okay, yeah, let's shore it up. If it was one pole, yeah, I could probably possibly think a different way on it, but not with them all. I just would rather demo, even if it's like a couple of days before the powwow, do the demolition and then, you know, get the tent set up and do what we need to do. That's my thought.
all right. Thank you, Carol. Okay, I think we're gonna, stay with the plan. Stay with the plan that we're going on, and, Rick, if you feel in the next couple of weeks, if you feel that we don't have a contractor in place and you don't think we're gonna be able to, we need to have that discussion before then, so we can,
Yeah, and I actually think, this week, we need to know whether we're gonna engage somebody. 2 weeks out is probably a better timeline, but, we are running up against it, and you never know what might happen, to slow something down once it gets started, so.
exactly, yep, things happen. Yes, Martin?
Are we gonna, Rick, I guess the question for you, we'll pay for the tents again this year. Can we just go ahead and put the order in for 2 right now, or figure out a way to get 2? Because, you know, if this is a space issue, then let's accommodate that. Let's actually listen to them and hear them and do what they need. And I hope both tents are packed the entire time. Thank you.
Yes,
And also just look at the option of purchasing tents if we can.
still, we
Okay.
are actually, looking at that, but, in the meantime, we have one, and I'll look at sizes too. I think Kyle said he got the biggest one that they had, but maybe we need two
Yeah,
of the biggest ones or something.
we have other
And
travel
lights
programs that can utilize this too,
and
so.
electricity and stuff, I know was a concern that was expressed that we're gonna accommodate
Okay,
or plan is to accommodate.
all right, thanks, Rick. Okay, so John, also, one of the reasons why we brought you down here is the Elmo Maintenance Building has been without electricity for about little over 2 months. We need electricity there ASAP. Can you, work on that and figure out what exactly we need to do to get that done?
Yeah, electrician was called right away. He got engaged in the process. It's a break between the pole underneath in the ground, between the pole and the building. So he had to hire a digger to come up, and he's just waiting on the excavator.
And what happened?
He's just waiting on the excavator.
Oh, okay, just waiting on the excavator.
The wires broke underneath in the ground.
Okay, and no estimated time on that?
He told me 2 weeks when it first happened, but
Okay.
I don't know. He's having a hard time getting an excavator also.
Is that something, Rick, we would be able to see if NRD has a backhoe that we can get somebody up there to dig it up?
Yeah, maybe forest development or somebody can assist in that. It'll be slightly complicated, but we'll get an idea of if there's been any commitment from the electrician's guy. Because right now we're paying the electrician to provide that service, so we'll have to adjust our contract and stuff, but yeah,
Okay,
we'll try and push and see if there's options.
all right, just if you can report back to council next week, early next week, and let us know. So we can stay on that, because 2 months is just a long time for our maintenance crew to do their job duties and not having electricity. I mean, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's electricity at that level is kind of a little bit scary to work with, especially underground. So that's why we went that route.
Okay. Martin,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On a completely separate note, I've had complaints about the flags on tribal buildings, especially out at Job Corps being, I don't know if they've been taken down or replaced, but if we're not gonna take care of them, let's just take them down. And also there's, the thing about if they're up 24/7, they have to be lit. And then I saw the one over by maintenance that's just kind of flying in the wind too. Let's have some pride in our flags, and they're old and tattered. Let's take them down and take care of them. Thank you.
It would, yes, that's maintenance's issue. But also if people in these buildings that we don't see every day, they could put a work order in. That would really help us out too. The work order system it's got its challenges, but at least we have a log of what happened or what needs to be done. That way it's brought to our attention.
It was sorry, Mr. Chair, it was a community member that brought it up, so.
Okay.
Someone going out to use the fitness center out at Job Corps.
Thank you for bringing it up.
okay. Since we're speaking of the Elmo Maintenance Building, so 2 years ago, I met with the staff at the roads department. We were looking at trying to improve the access roads into the facility. Can you follow up on that also? And what I think needs to happen is we probably need to put that road on the inventory, on the BIA inventory, so they can get that fixed and keep it maintained. But we need to get that road paved. Because of that, every spring, I see the staff has the same problem when we get a little bit of rain, they're battling just to get to the building. And that road is just getting wrecked up every time but I know they did at one time stake it out, but they never followed up and let us know what was the next process, so.
They had, the roads department had, I think they were gonna come in from the lakeside, from the east side. But and then went through lands, and then I think George said there was a money issue. But whoever owned the land over there didn't wanna give up the easement.
Okay, well, let's just find out and follow up on that and, figure out what we need to do to get that road fixed.
Yeah, I'll ask, Scott to, give an update, on whether it's been added or requested to be added to the inventory and kind of where things are.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, Jim Nemando come out there and, he looked at it all and that was the plan, was come from the east side and pave it through and pave that parking lot, but that's the last I ever talked to him was 2 years ago. But I'd just like to thank council for taking time to listen to our concerns out there. And I appreciate it and thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in this morning, Leonard. And Monday, we're gonna meet again and get updates on the powwow. So I will, I'll shoot you a text message when we figure out exactly what time that's gonna be. And if you're available, you can sure
Okay.
join us.
Yeah, Kyle was out there with Smith Paving this morning. They were doing a walkthrough. And I told him I was gonna be here, so
Okay.
I'll probably catch up with him later today. Just give him a call.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank
Any
you.
other- Any other comments from council? Okay, thank you all.
Now you have Randy.
All right. Good morning, Randy. All right, here, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the council. This morning, I bring a resolution for your consideration with my intention to apply for EPA CPRG grant, which is Climate Protection Reduction Grant, in the amount of 500,000. We have been meeting weekly with the EPA, and it was on Tuesday that they revealed that they would wish that I would apply for what the tribes are allocated in a total amount up to, but not exceeding 500,000. So that's what my intent is. Maybe for a separate consideration is I also intend to include at least one FTE in this grant. Grant can be for up to 4 years. Looking at the budget as I'm working on it, we probably won't go more than 3. What this is the climate, this is a planning grant. There are 2 different pots of money available. There was 250 million set aside for these planning grants. And so with the planning grant, the intent is, and it's non-competitive. So when we apply, we will get some money. We will be allocated through the region, depending on how many tribes apply. What we intend to do with the planning grant is to develop an additional grant application to go for the larger pool of money, which is the adaptation planning grant that EPA has. They have 4.6 billion set aside. These are going to be competitive, and what I intend to do with this grant is to seek out professional help to write a grant to go after this additional money. And since it is competitive, I believe, if you pardon the phrase, I believe everyone in their res dog will be applying for this, so it's gonna be difficult. I realize it's gonna be difficult. I also would like to reach out to S&K M&M to see if they can help us with, the second phase of the grant application.
Okay.
I'll stop right here if there's any
Alright.
questions. I can discuss it more. if you
Alright.
want.
Martin?
I just wanted to make sure that when you're applying, that you make sure you include the resolution of climate change that we passed this year. And just make sure that, you know, they know our commitment to this when you apply. Might help your case, so that'll make a motion to approve the resolution to apply for climate pollution reduction grant.
Okay, we have a motion by Martin. Any other comments? Second by Ellie. Questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed, same? Motion carries. All right, Randy, thank you.
Thank you. Maybe I'll bring up one other thing that, this came up yesterday. I've sent to personnel, a position description update for a climate change coordinator that was previously Ryan Evans' position within the environmental division. And I was surprised to see that something very similar to what I was putting in for has now come up for advertisement for employment. So I am kind of unsure what's going to happen at this point. I
I was
believe
just thinking about that, Randy.
yeah, this person's going to get hired before we even apply for the grant, but it's not what I had originally intended. I'm not sure what the tribe intends to do with this position.
So who put that in? Who submitted that?
I'm not aware of. I believe it says a report to Tony Inkashula, but it must have happened before he got the position. So I haven't like checked into that at this point.
Okay. Renee, do you know anything about that position that's being advertised? Can you use the mic, please?
The position was advertised by the Office of Tribal Member Services. So the position will be directly under Tony in Kashola.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess what I can do is I'll just have Tony, communicate with you and make sure you guys are all on the same page and we're not getting our wires crossed and, get that all taken care of. But yeah, I was just reading that advertisement last night and, was wondering about that.
So still put that one FTE in the grant application and then the grant is due.
If it's
15th.
covered, yeah, if it's covered in the grant that you're applying for, I would move forward with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
creates another job, so. All right, Randy, well, thank you.
Randy, I would touch base with Tony and make sure that we're not duplicating the same position. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
great to have two people, but, yeah, let's just check with him. I would follow up.
Yeah, so the PD I put in for, I had elements of air quality in there because, probably announced this at this point, but I intend to retire in 2 years and was thinking that this person would do some air quality work and become familiar with what I'm doing. And so there would be kind of a succession in place for when I retire, that there would be somebody who could take over the air quality position. We had 4 FTE at one point and we've been reduced because of funding cuts down to 1. And in this past year, the funding doesn't actually cover my FTE completely. So I'm having to tap out of other grants. So this is an attempt to try to keep the position whole with this climate change grant and other grants that I've been applying for. It's very difficult for tribes because EPA's come out with all this money. There's a large amounts of grant funding application or grants out there, but most tribes, especially in the environmental field, everyone has a full-time job and grant writing is not part of that. So it's very difficult to apply for these.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, Randy.
You guys want to take a quick break until the next the aligned at work people start logging on.
Is that actually gonna go on until 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's new to me.
No, you guys done a class or whatever with Lisa and Renee already? And then they let you guys know that this was getting scheduled for part of that.
Work culture?
That's what.
We gotta do a survey?
But they're not logging on yet, so
Yeah. Big 10.
Looks like Chris Largent sent us a Zoom link for the meeting. Is that right, Jen?
what is that?
Just got an email from Chris Largent about a different Zoom.
They had their own Zoom. I need to send, Renee, can you come here?
So are they zooming in on us or are we zooming in on them?
Well, see, there's a complication. They didn't know that we had the Zoom capability, so then they sent us a Zoom link a while ago. And then during my emails with them, I let them know that we have our own Zoom link. So,
Okay, thank you, Renee.
unmute. Need to start video.
They would like to go on executive.